Welcome back to Rippled Mind, the podcast where we explore transformative ideas that challenge the way we think about health, longevity, and the future. I'm your host, Mike Bradley.
And I'm Jessica. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects every single one of us: aging.
Here's something that will blow your mind. Scientists now predict that the first person who will live to 150 years old is already alive today. But the real question is, will those extra decades be worth living?
That's such a fascinating way to think about it. The research shows we've gained more years of life expectancy in the last century than in all of human history combined.
Well, looking at Andrew Scott's work in The Longevity Imperative, he completely challenges our assumptions about aging. You know how we used to think living longer was the goal? The data shows that what really matters is our health span, the years we spend active and disease-free.
That makes me think about my grandmother. She lived to her 80s, but those last 15 years were really challenging with chronic health issues.
That's exactly what the research is showing. Nearly 60% of adults over 65 have at least one chronic condition. But here's the kicker. Most of these conditions are preventable through lifestyle choices. The science suggests we could add 20 to 30 healthy years to our lives.
So what does that mean for how we structure our lives? Because the traditional education work retirement model seems pretty outdated now.
Oh man, that's where things get really interesting. The data shows people who stay engaged in meaningful work or activities into their later years maintain better cognitive function. There's this fascinating study where they taught 70-year-olds to code, and the cognitive improvements were remarkable.
Well, that certainly challenges the notion that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. What about the physical aspects of aging?
The latest research is mind-blowing. Just 15 minutes of strength training twice a week can reverse age-related muscle loss. We naturally lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade after 30, but, and this is crucial, we can actually prevent most of that loss.
You know what's really interesting about all this? The social aspect. I was reading that loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Right, and it goes even deeper than that. Strong social connections literally change our gene expression, particularly genes involved in immune function and inflammation. There's this whole field called social genomics that's revealing how relationships shape our biology at the molecular level.
That's incredible when you think about the implications for how we design our communities and social structures as we age.
And speaking of design, let's talk about nutrition. The research shows our protein needs actually increase as we age. Adults over 65 need about 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, compared to 0.8 grams for younger adults. Most people don't realize this.
That's such valuable information. What about the technology aspect? How is that changing the longevity game?
Well, we're seeing incredible advances in personalized medicine and AI-driven health monitoring. But here's what's really fascinating. The research suggests that up to 80% of how we age is determined by lifestyle factors rather than genetics. Technology can help, but our daily habits are still the foundation.
That really puts the responsibility back in our hands, doesn't it? It's both empowering and a bit daunting.
Exactly, and it has huge financial implications too. When people might live 30 or 40 years after traditional retirement age, we need to completely rethink our approach to careers and savings. The old financial models just don't work anymore.
So what's the solution? How do we prepare for potentially living to 100 or beyond?
The research points to multiple careers over a lifetime, periodic sabbaticals for retraining, and new financial products designed specifically for longevity. People who maintain some form of productive work or engagement into their later years often have better health outcomes and more financial security.
Looking at all this evidence, it seems like we're really at a turning point in human history.
You know what's really striking? The choices we make today, from our exercise habits to our social connections, literally shape our future selves at the cellular level. The science is clear. Longevity isn't just about extending life. It's about extending healthy, meaningful life.
That really brings it all together. How our daily choices create the foundation for a longer, healthier life. It's about being proactive rather than reactive.
And that's perhaps the most powerful message in all of this research. we have far more control over our aging process than most people realize. The future of longevity isn't just about adding years to life, but adding life to those years. It's about being proactive, staying active, eating well, learning, and connecting. The choices we make now shape the decades ahead.
That's a wrap for today. Check out the Longevity Imperative for a deeper dive. And as always, stay curious, take charge of your health, and ripple your mind every